Hello everyone, my name is Yeleni Narvaez Prado and I am a student at UTPL University. Here is my identification or DNI and welcome to a new video. This is my answer for the graded activity number 6, video recording to identify the parts of a journal article in EPA format and explain each one of them. So, the journal article I choose is a little using Genially games for enhancing EPL reading and writing skills in online education. Now, with this title of the author Luz Castillo Cuesta, we can enter that consider the preliminary section based on the guide. So we have a first order title, which is the way to attract the readers. This is attract the readers. To the article and also the author is the institutional affiliation that they may have. In this case, the author affiliate bill entering now into the second part, which is research information. I have highlighted the part or the title of the part the guide provides as starring the summary. So in this case specifically, I discovered after reading the summary that it contains the characteristics that the guide provides. Fine. It's the summary of the whole article. Here is an example. It explains the objective of the study. How many participants they use, what method they results showed, and a further explanation, maybe some conclusions about some kind of recommendations, and of course the keywords too. As I said, a summary of whole article and also contains no more than 2050 words. That was also mentioned in the guide. And the second part is about the introduction. This abstract. So the second part is about introduction. In the introduction, as in the guide, it's mentioned that must have a clear definition of the problem is that its importance it's filed of a study of so the study of a study or problem in this article is basically that the pandemic of COVID-19 is affected many aspects of human life of focuses on that is education and learning in EPL specifically. The author basically talks about the importance of technology not only in teaching English but also it's a resource not stop having classes, taking classes and accessing the right to education, also science. That here is a kind of change how we learn and how we teach. They also teacher mentions that instructors or teacher change then it was only in the feeling that the student has to adapt, but also the teacher had apply numerous technological tools and resources to get their point across. Okay, continue. They had to implement new ways in their classes so that all the needs of the students were met. Basically, the problem is obviously a need that came of the Copenhagen pandemic and all changes in education that when with also this change all demands which then learned and teachers must begin to use the technology to remain relevant during the context such as a pandemic. So, apart from the explanation of this problem that as you can see in the text of the pandemic, it's very important to understand about the problems. It's involved the problems, which as you can see here, I have marked it as the correct because it defines the problem. We also found some theoretical support. Some the author also cites some other authors, so Sandal World 2020, CHAP 2011, and etc. Who have researched similar topics. She has put in here some of the findings that this author have made with respect to that theoretical support. She basically cited things about how technology provides various benefits, how some authors consider reading and technology is this interactive process between educational and technology provides various benefits. So, in the EFL classrooms and other authors who have done research of the same topic in the same file, for example, she cites Yesenia Sakira, who investigated the impact of digital games on students and vocabulary learning in the youth, who analyzed the influence of gamified learning activities, assigned free learning, managing blood analysis and Mondo on EFL students, writing anxiety levels, at all, who explored the use of games is the EFL learning and many more. So she also backups two things by citing them. So from reading, I could find really only one objective of the study, which again in the guide mentioned that this part where should find it. In this case, it mentioned that the constituted contribution she lied on the general games to improve e-field reading and writing skills in the online classrooms and furthermore in these mentioned ingenious games in teaching e-field reading and writing skills in the second. How do students perceive of the generative games foster and the reading skills? About is the similar issues. So according to the reading, um, I didn't necessarily find a brief explanation of the applications. This study really only the author referred that is the literature review. He basically explains that it really means online hubs about the world exchange because of COVID. Why is technology important in teaching English? As a foreign language, of course. How do use the technology improve these skills of design activities, improve reading and writing, and other skills with this technology? And of course, the topic of article, which this is gamification in the EFL education, basically understood as using games to get point across in class and explain certain topic. Some authors consider it the positive because it is reduce the anxiety. When practicing, it help motivate the students and help to the participations a little more while having fun. But also, it's learning too. So with this said, let's move on the method. Actually, in this article, you can see three parts of guides mentioned, which is the participants, the materials, or in this case, research instruments on number 3. That is the second number 3. Method. Procedures used in the questionnaires and participants that the author mentioned that they were a total of 48 EFL students enrolled in the two distance reading and writing course in English major at the University of Ecuador. Their age ranged from 20 and 45 years. Their proficiency level as was a 2 according to the common. We are also organized in group 1 experimental and 1 control 23 and 25 people, respectively. The research instrument with a total 3. I have highlighted they first the pretest wrote Canvas so they could evaluate the reading and writing skills of participants. So new to advance the second was supposed after previous one a similar characteristics which was used to measure the level to improvement of the participants compared to the results with the pretest, and third was questionnaires about their experience. The generally games providing these reading and writing skills. And finally, the procedures, the author explains that she used a mixed method, decoded and analyzed that in the study, and it took in the time of a 5-month academic period. She also mentioned about the purple sampling. She talks about the games she chose them, how it was voluntary, the participation of the subjects was moving forward have 4 points, that the results of the discussion, which I also mentioned it in the guide here. The researchers present everything that Gatorade and analyze user tables. So you can see that used to expressed. The result is basically is a study where they show improvement in studying, students level and privacy. This is the table one. In reading and writing after using these general games to learn. If there was improvement, but the results show it's aligned with the previous research topics. They have explored in the same field. Also, in his results, mentioned that the game design is the correct and can be very useful in the English learning environment, but it also needs to be 100% accompanied by pedagogical strategies so that not only teachers can rely on the games to the research. But also I have to work together with I here have had a start on what I think about is the most relevant result of the research questions that formulate earlier, which is the opinion of the participants regarding the use of the game center overall. The motivation and impact is positive is 91%. I know the agencies motivates them to improve reading and writing skills. Now, finally, regarding the conclusion, the finds and recommendation. The author has established a total of 6 they basically mentioned of the use. Overall, as I mentioned, that effective in the above improvement of reading and writing skills in which the participant shows an increase with the respect to the performance. The implementation of games-based activities motivate students, improve their reading and writing skills, which is related to the cited in the literature review. Number 4, the students have positive perceptions toward using game-based activity. They improve their reading comprehension skills about applying the gamification after is first place. Number 5, generally games using in the helping students. I would now to consider is a recommendation by conclusion. There is a study trying to set up percent of studies they might occur in the same field or of the same topic. These results are limits because of their population. If she didn't really do that, mention it a difference in backgrounds or cultures or other points of certain things. So future research so consider the teacher's perceptions regarding this because it's focused primarily in the students. Not necessarily is a teacher, and they mentioned that this study was in the activity. So it's be recommended that furthermore implementation of this study include.